Friday, the day after Thanksgiving.
24th of November.
And we're in the Pisgah National Forest at the Pink Lady picnic area. We're just getting up here and we're gonna have some lunch because we're starving. And we're gonna make a soup today, but I'm gonna do something a little different than we did last time. I'm gonna use the Firebox Wood Flame gas burner with the simmer plate, or the heat dispersion plate in it. We're gonna see how that works out. I'm gonna get this all set up and then we'll come back when I got it running and we'll see how it works. Okay, the way this thing works, as you can see, I've got the Trangia cooker set up, but this thing just clips right into the hole that the alcohol stove would normally go into, and then there's a hole right here that the gas line feeds through. So you feed that through there. We're gonna screw on our fuel. Get our fuel on there, and I'm going to start it just to get us boiling quicker without the heat dispersion plate on there. So I've already got 2 cups of water measured out for the soup, and I'll talk about how much we use of that in a few minutes. But I got 2 cups of water measured out. I'm going to go ahead and turn this on. Fire that up. We'll get the water on there, get it started. Put a little salt in there. Put a little salt in it. A little black pepper, just to get us going. So what I've got in here is some Harmony House freeze-dried Italian soup mix, some rice, and a bouillon cube. I'll stick in there. It's been on there 2 minutes so far, 3 minutes maybe, and
Let's see steam.
it's already about to boil. I mean, I'm looking at the water, it's about to boil already. So what I'm going to do once the water's boiling, so I'll pull it off of there and I'll put the heat dispersion plate on it. And what that does, I'll show you when it's simmering. Typically with a burner, because of the small, the small head on these burners, all the heat is usually placed right in the center of your pot. So you end up with all that heat just right in the middle of the pot. And this heat dispersion plate, it's titanium, it'll turn beet red when it's in there, and it spreads the heat across the whole width of this plate, and then the flames will jet out the sides and you'll have heat all the way across the bottom of your pot instead of just concentrated right in the center. It is fully boiling right now, so I'm going to pull that off. I'm going to put this hot glove on. Let's see if I can put this plate in there. Okay, so the plate is now in the middle there, and that plate's going to get hot and disperse that heat across the whole width of the pot. And I'm going to go ahead and put the soup ingredients in there. And then what I have in the other container is a couple tablespoons of Bisto chicken gravy mix. It's a thickener. We'll use that to thicken this up a little bit. Once this soup boils down until it's almost ready, I'll put this chicken in there just to warm it through, and then we'll have a soup. The soup is boiling away here, and as you can tell, it's boiling towards the outside now, not right down the center. So that heat dispersion plate is actually dispersing the heat. The camera's not picking up the fact that it's going to glow red. It's too bright out here, but that heat dispersion plate is dispersing the heat around the whole width of the pot instead of right in the center like it normally would. adjust this down a little bit because that's boiling a little hard. So we're just at a simmer. It's going to take about 15 minutes. So I'll pause the video and we'll put the lid on this thing and come back in about 15 minutes and see how we look. One of the things I like about this gas rig is that it's very easy to adjust the flame and, you know, get it down to a simmer like you want it. I mean, you can do it with an alcohol stove with a simmer ring and stuff like that, but you got to, you know, you got to keep tinkering with it, pulling it on and off and closing it up until you get it exactly where you want it, and this makes it a little easier. You can see it's rolling pretty hard, so I'm going to turn it down a little more. And you can see though it's bubbling and simmering across the entire pot, which is what that simmering does. Instead of having that flame concentrated right there in the center, the entire pot gets heat across it, and you know, you still can't see that that plate is hot. But trust me, if it's dark enough, that that heat dispersion plate will be cherry red. It's titanium. It'll be cherry red in there, and it's dispersing heat across here. Now, one of the things that they say about this wood flame gas burner with that dispersion plate on it is you can grill on it, and I have not tried that yet, but as you can see, it simmers an entire pot absolutely fantastically. So we'll get the cover back on this thing and we'll come back in a bit and see how we're doing. I'm not sure if I talked about the exact ratios that are in the soup, but it's 16 ounces of water. It's half a cup of Harmony House dehydrated Italian soup mix, a quarter cup of just plain white rice, salt and pepper of course, and to that, once it's, you know, the soup is cooked all the way through, it takes about 15 or 20 minutes. We'll add 2 packets of premium white chicken, just the Starkist packets. And then I've got a couple tablespoons of Bisto granulated gravy crystals, chicken flavored in there. So that'll thicken it up, and I'll show you that when that happens. I mean, it's fairly thick right now, but it's still, you know, really soupy. Once I put that gravy mix in there, it'll become a thick stew, and we'll see that as it happens. It's basically cooked, so I'm going to add in 2 packets of chicken meat. These packets of meat look huge, but there's not as much in them as you think. Actually, I may only add 1. Or do you think I need the second one?
No, I don't think so. Looks pretty good.
Okay, so we got that 1 in there. We're going to give that chicken just a minute to heat through, and then we'll put that Bisto gravy mix in there. Okay, so here's the Bisto gravy granules. You know, here's what the soup looks like right now. You can see it's fairly thick. It's sopped up most of that water, but we're gonna put you know, maybe a tablespoon and a half of those granules in there. And we'll stir those around, and you'll see what happens is immediately it starts to thicken, and that stuff is great for anything that you want to do a gravy with, instead of, you know, going through the whole trouble of making a gravy and all of that jazz. Those gravy granules are awesome, and you can see that thickened right up. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the gas off. We'll get this plated up and we'll eat it in just a second. So there it is. It's basically 2 servings. And you can see that, you know, that Bisto granules that tighten that thing right up. It's very low calorie. I think there's probably And see, this 80 calories in the chicken, probably 80 or 100 calories in the soup mix, and then whatever is in the rice. The Besto is like 10 calories a serving. It's not much. So, you know, we're talking 300 calories or less in this meal. So we're going to enjoy this, and we'll catch you on the next one.